We all know from my last video, and if you've done any research yourself, that there were fewer questions submitted to the last debates by women than by men. I think this is probably for a variety of reasons. Women feel less comfortable putting their face out there in this environment because often women get comments about their appearance, that really inappropriate comments, and they're just not willing to put themselves out there in a world that treats them in an objectified form like that. I have definitely experienced that. When I look at the comments attached to male political bloggers, comments are much more often about content and much less about the person's appearance, which I think is very telling in terms of the way men and women are viewed in this context. So I think that makes sense that fewer women feel like taking the risk of putting their face and their voice out there. That said, I'm still encouraging as many women as possible to submit questions to the Republican debates because the questions that will be asked by women, I think inevitably will be different than the ones asked by men. Naturally, a question that someone's concerned about has to do with their identity, and therefore women and men will probably tend to ask different types of questions. One thing that I'm planning on doing, perhaps in conjunction with a couple other YouTube folks, is get out there and videotape questions for others who might not otherwise be able to record their own question. I'm very interested in making it possible for people without a video camera and all this computer technology to submit a question. So that's something that I'm going to be trying to do to get more voices involved. And if you're inspired to do that, please let me know that you're doing it so that I can check out your questions and see what kind of voices we're getting into this discussion that wouldn't otherwise be there. So YouTube, I think you have a huge opportunity here to enable the general public to vote on which questions they would like to see answered at the debate. So I think you've got two options here. Either YouTube can set up a simple and easy way for anyone who visits the Republican debates page to view all the questions submitted and to vote for questions that they think should be answered. Your other option is to create a very public and visible link to the community counts page that already exists, so that will enable anyone who visits YouTube and is interested in the debates to find a way to vote. CNN, I think the whole buzz around this upcoming debate and participation from YouTube users and the general public would increase dramatically if you were to disclose how you're selecting questions. It's important that you let the public know you are looking to see what the general public feels about these questions, and therefore creating transparency in the process. That will lead to more people wanting to watch the debates in the first place, and I believe much more participation from people on YouTube into these debates in the future. My other recommendation to CNN is reflect a gender balance in the questions that you select. Now, contrary to what people may think, this is not difficult to do. You're going to have thousands of questions to choose from. As of today, over 900 questions have already been submitted for the Republican debates coming up in September. If you care about reflecting gender balance in these questions that are asked and representing the population of the United States accurately through those questions, then you have the tools at your disposal to make sure that there are good, clear, hard-hitting questions that are asked equally by women and by men. And CNN, you can't think we don't notice that you keep placing Obama, Clinton, and Edwards center stage, whereas Gravel and Kucinich are on the wings. I think you probably get where I'm going here, but it wouldn't kill you to put Gravel, Kucinich, Biden, Dodd in the center, and the other candidates that obviously have more airtime and popularity in the mass media on the wings for a change. And my last recommendation is for Anderson Cooper. Anderson, it was extremely apparent to me and to other people that I've talked to watching the debates that you felt a huge responsibility to make sure that the candidates actually answered the YouTube asker's question. You did this many times by trying to bring the candidates back to the original question. However, many times that you did this, I think you unknowingly, at least I hope unknowingly, reframed the YouTube asker's question. I know this very well because you did it to my question twice.
How will your policies influence Americans rather than just using special light bulbs to do this?
Senator Gravel, how do you get Americans to conserve? The question was about personal sacrifice.
Certainly I and you both know that in terms of media communications, it's all about framing. So it's essential that you maintain the original framing of the question asked by the YouTube user. Here's my recommendation. Take a transcript with you. If you have a transcript of each question that has been selected by CNN for the debates, you can refer to that any time that you need to repeat the question. And because you'll probably need to ask a condensed version of the question, you can also easily have a condensed, prepared version available for you beforehand, in which the question has been trimmed down a bit, and yet keeping the framing of the original question the same.